Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and a new Diablo 4 video. Today I'm back to talk mistakes that I've made in Season 1. Specifically, these are things that I didn't even know you could do. For example, did you know you have to beat the Echo of Varshan in World Tier 1 or 2 before you can actually fight the important versions in World Tier 3 and 4? Or how you can literally infinitely farm Wrathful Hearts stupidly fast by not completing the main story of the season. That and more are the type of things I want to highlight in today's video. So basically these are a bunch of tips that I'm glad I finally know that would have been nice to know sooner. So with that explained, let's begin. Let's start with that one that I just mentioned, the Echo of Varshan, and how you can fight him again for incredible rewards. In fact, it looks like in World Tier 4, that tormented version of him seems to drop items that are level 800 or higher, even if they're sacred drops, which is obviously insane. But the problem is, this guy doesn't exist and never will exist if you don't go back to World Tier 1 or 2 and defeat the original Echo of him. Basically, as part of the main story in the campaign, you will go defeat Varshan at the sort of end of the main story, right? We all knew that was going to happen, but then there's an Echo version added. You'll get this item, the Invoker of Varshan, at the end of that. And as you can see, it says that it invokes an Echo of the Varshan from a powerful pustule found within tunnels. Basically, you'll find 6 of these Malignant tunnels on the map, and 3 of the 6 actually have Varshan as a spawn at the end of it. You just need the Invoker to actually do it. Now, out of the 6, I would recommend the Ravening Pit because we use this for a load of different reasons, and it's just arguably the best one overall. It's just northeast of Durandai or southwest of the hidden Overlook waypoints overall. So we head in there in World Tier 1 or 2 with our Invoker of Varshan. After completing the tunnel, you can progress onwards as you normally would, right? To find an Invoker event. But if you keep going by heading the other way down the tunnels, you'll just find this locked door, which you can open up and go through to a hidden chamber where you can summon an Echo of Varshan. So in World Tier 1 and 2, you just need a normal Invoker of Varshan that spawns him in, and then you just defeat him. At which point, he will drop you a new recipe. You can bring this to any of Corman's workbench, and under the Malignant Invoker tab, you will see now not just an Invoker of Varshan, but a foul Invoker of Varshan. This is the one you craft for World Tier 3 to fight the level 60 or so Varshan version. You'll need to craft one of these, and as you can see, it will require another Invoker of Varshan and some sigil power. With that, you can go into World Tier 3, go back to the tunnel, go all the way back to the end of the tunnel, and defeat this Tier 3 version of the Echo of Varshan. As you can see, the loot is really good, like a bunch of important crafting materials for your crafted caches or hearts, and I even got the incredible Penitent Greaves from, again, this World Tier 3 really easy version to defeat. Either way, once you defeat him, you will get another recipe. This one then will allow us to craft the Tormented Invoker of Varshan, which, as you can see, to craft requires 5 Forgotten Souls, which is hefty, another Invoker of Varshan, and a Fiend Rose, or 5 of them. This is the highest level version, and it's level 80, which is nice because now we can actually have a single target boss fight that's not level 100, you know, the Uber Lilith fight. Again, the rewards for defeating this version of Varshan are really good. More of those crafting resources, but consistent power level items of 800 and above, even if they're sacred items, which is really good. So absolutely go back and do it on World Tier 1. Get yourself the foul version, then get the tormented version done, and then as soon as you can, start defeating the tormented version for the great rewards. For our next thing then, I want to quickly highlight hearts and when to farm them, because, you know, there's many ways to farm them. We're going to talk about a couple of ways to do so in this video, and basically this is a warning to not farm them too early. As you can see, they have an item power level and an actual level, level 3 in this case. The higher that level, the higher quality the heart actually is, and it actually rolls higher details than we would expect. Like, for example, if you look at aspects that have different rolls, this is always going to be between 1 and 4, no matter when I get this. Like, maybe it's a legendary, sacred, or ancestral, it's always 1 to 4. But with hearts, it's totally different. Not only the better numbers such as 388 to 291 in this case, but also the literal percents. Deal 27 increased percent damage versus 25% increased damage at the lower level. A great example of that will be this Wrathful Heart, which gives me nearly a 700 barrier at level 5, but the same heart at a lower level is only giving me a 248 barrier. That's so much worse. Basically, at World Tier 3, you have more hearts you can roll, and the quality will be higher than World Tier 1 and 2. And at World Tier 4, you get the biggest full pool of hearts to get, and they have the potential of the highest rolls. So basically, you want to avoid farming hearts too early, because the best ones are found in World Tier 4 and the full roster of them. The only reason to do it sooner than that would be World Tier 3, because you're trying to form a complete, strong set to maybe take on the capstone to unlock World Tier 4. So heads up on that. Speaking of which, farming hearts. There is a ridiculously broken, clearly going to be removed from the game method that you can do right now. And I would recommend you get it done while you can, because if we call back to what happened in preseason, where we found an amazing farm for uniques and legendaries in a specific dungeon doing a specific loop, they hard nerfed it the next day. They've promised to slow down on things like that and let us be a bit OP and enjoy things a bit more, but that doesn't mean they're not going to remove these methods. So as you can see, we are repeatedly doing the final boss of the campaign and then just reloading and doing it again and again and again. Every single time we do this, we're getting between 1 to 2 guaranteed wrathful heart drops, which is how I've been able to get 40 and amass my best possible rolls in World Tier 4 as well. So this is an incredible method and will save you a lot of farming long term if you can get it done now. But there's a problem. You can't physically do it if you have already completed the seasonal campaign storyline. There is a way around that because, yeah, me, Con, and Josh had all completed that storyline. But here's how it works basically. In the final fight with Varshan in the seasonal story, when you're in that final room, you defeat him, you capture his heart, you get a guaranteed wrathful. If you do not talk to Command after that and simply leave, reset the dungeon, and go again, you can repeatedly do this forever. It's genuinely crazy. A guaranteed wrathful, or like I said, multiple depending on what actually happens during the dungeon, is just too good to pass up. But if you have unfortunately completed the campaign like all three of us did, you can get around this by, say, having one of your friends make an ult, helping them progress into World Tier 4, and doing all of the seasonal campaign to that final point. And then by playing in their world, of course, you're at that final point with them. So just like we did, we were able to have Cotton make an ult, do all of that, and then we just farmed the wrathful hearts to our heart's content. And of course, Cotton can benefit from that too. He could just make an ult that's the same class as his main, and he'll still get the torment level hearts to send over via his shared stash anyway. So of course, if you're willing to put the effort in to do all of that, to get this massive selection of the ideal hearts, I would recommend you do it now while it's still in the game. Now, this video is probably going to go out a day or two after I make it, so there's every chance that that method that I've just spoke about is nerfed. Or you just don't want to do that, or you don't have a friend to do it, whatever. How do you farm wrathful hearts in a more legitimate way? Well, there's two main methods that I would recommend. Firstly, it's all to do once again with the same dungeon we just mentioned, the Malignant Tunnel, the Ravening Pit. This one has the perfect affix. I have a whole video dedicated to this from when the season actually launched, so I'll just explain this really quickly. If you go into the Ravening Pit, the first section will have you defeat 2 named elites, but there's actually 3 named elites that all can potentially spawn as a wrathful. So you just go into the Ravening Pit, kill all 3 of them, hopefully one of them spawns as a wrathful, and hey, you get a wrathful heart. You can run around the tunnel until you see all 3 of them, and the moment that you confirm that there isn't a wrathful enemy in there, you can just die or leave the dungeon, reset the dungeon, and go in again, running around until you see a wrathful. Sometimes you can be really lucky with this and get multiple wrathfuls in, say, 10 minutes. Josh had an incredible run where he had 2 in 10 minutes. I was able to get 3 wrathful hearts in just 20 minutes using this method. Again, we have a whole video about this if you want extra details and more explanation. But there's another way that you can guarantee get some wrathful benefits. If you come to the workbench here and go to the crafted cache and then choose to craft uncertain invokers, as you can see, it has a chance to be a wrathful invoker. More likely it's going to be brutal, vicious, or devious. So if I craft one, what did I get? I got a vicious, but there's a chance that you'll get a wrathful. Basically, you bring these to the invoker events in any of the tunnels at the end of them, and it's always going to be a wrathful or something else. Now, as I've said, there are 6 malignant tunnels on the map. There's 2 in Fractured Peaks, 2 in the Dry Steppes, and 2 in Hazawar region. At the end of these, with their invoker set events, it's actually dedicated. So in Fractured Peaks, you'll find a wrathful and devious spawn. In Dry Steppes, you'll find a wrathful and brutal spawn. In Hazawar, you'll find a vicious and wrathful spawn. So if you're wanting to specifically farm one of the 3 using invokers, you'll need to go to the correct region to go to the correct invoker event. It's not true RNG since they're set in that way. My next tip then is to do with the stash, and it's incredibly horrible I mean, I don't know how to describe this without getting angry, unforgivable state. Gems are still taking up inventory room in your stash, and we're using less of them because, yeah, we're not using the 3 slots in our jewelry tab for, say, skulls anymore. We're using them for Malignant Hearts. And Malignant Hearts, wonderfully, take up a massive amount of space in your stash. As you can see, my stash is completely full, and I have managed this stash aggressively that everything I've got in here is really important. Adding one more tab is not going to fix this issue, and I'm just kind of frustrated. My best advice to you then is to make sure you're aggressively salvaging the hearts. Basically, knowing what I've told you now, you know that there are different levels of hearts. For example, this one is a level 1, so I know that it's a very low roll heart. There's no reason for me to keep it, so salvaging it gives me a little bit of the resources that I need to actually craft specific hearts that I want, specific invokers, or the RNG ones to hopefully get the wrathful invokers. These resources are very worth, so salvaging your hearts is obviously also worth. My advice is basically aggressively salvage your hearts to hopefully get the most out of your stash space. They have mentioned they're looking into more ways to fix this beyond adding tabs, which is good, but their pace, like the way that they address these issues, is so slow that we're just going to be dealing with a really annoying situation that they've created, even more so in Season 1 with these hearts, for a long period of time. So hopefully they get it together. My last tip for today then is to manage your season blessings properly. You want to make sure you're going to your battle pass and actually going all the way back to the current level of your smoldering ashes to actually claim them, because they do not automatically claim. When I finally reach level 78, I'm going to have to come back to this battle pass, scroll back to this level and click on it, or I won't have the ashes to spend. There's a tip to check really quickly without doing it annoyingly, which is coming to your seasonal blessings tab, and you see here where it says next smoldering ashes unlocked at reward tier 48, it'll tell me that the next one that I get is actually at level 78. So if I'm just playing and I'm like, when do I get my next smoldering? And instead of tabbing back and eventually finding it, I can just go to this and go, it's at level 78. That's nice, but really there should just be a button here that's like claim all unclaimed battle pass rewards. But I guess that technology is just a bit beyond us right now or something. Further, for tips on this, I would strongly recommend that you level up your Urn of Aggression for XP first. It'll get you to 3%, 5%, 7%, 8% extra XP from monster kills per seasonal ashes that you actually spend, or smoldering ashes rather, on this. My priority then is the XP. We want this the most of all, unless you're level 100. And then second priority is the Urn of Malignance. This boosts the chance to get powerful Malignant Hearts, so better rolls on those incredibly good heart drops. Once you hit World Tier 4, you want to start leveling this basically. But even then, I'm going to get XP first, as you can see. If you do stop to actually farm hearts aggressively for a while, I would recommend unspecking and reallocating your blessings all into the Urn of Malignance. It scales much better than XP, majorly improving the drop rates and the quality of the hearts you're getting, so it's well worth it. Just be aware that reallocating your blessings does cost more and more gold as you do it, but even now, it cost me 24k, which is nothing. It's like selling one item. So reallocate where you feel necessary. But my priority is going to be XP, then the Urn of Malignance for your Malignant Hearts, then vendoring gold improvements, then salvage, and finally elixirs, most likely. But there you have it. Those are the things I wish I knew in Season 1 a lot sooner. These are things you just kind of have to play and experience yourself until you realize the best way to do things. But fortunately, now I've done that, I can basically tell you guys what I've learned. So I hope that was useful to you. In fact, if you have any extra tips or, details along the line of this concept, maybe drop it in the comments, maybe you'll help someone. But for now, I've been Hollow, you've been you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.